Welcome back to the channel, dear friends. Today we're exploring something ancient, mystical, and surprisingly practical, the mysterious wisdom behind the water features placed near one's home, specifically, the symbolic and energetic implications of a pond in front of your house. You might have heard elders say, the cone-shaped pond in front brings endless wealth. Or perhaps you've come across warnings like, never dig a pond at your doorstep unless you understand the principles. At first glance, it might sound like superstition, some oral myth passed down by overly cautious ancestors. But what if these teachings hold deeper truths, rooted in ancient environmental wisdom, psychological insight, and a profound understanding of how energy flows within our living spaces? Whether you live in a countryside home with space for a garden pond or in a city apartment where you can only dream of a water feature, the message remains: our environment deeply influences our fate. Water, in particular, has always been seen as a harbinger of wealth, clarity, and spiritual vitality. In almost every ancient culture, moving water is considered alive, bringing opportunity, prosperity, and healing. Still water, on the other hand, can stagnate, not only physically, but energetically. Let's start with an old Chinese proverb: the kind-shaped or half-moon pond brings a warehouse full of grain. At first this may seem poetic or metaphorical, but in the context of Feng Shui, this is literal guidance. The round shape of a kine, or the curved crescent of a moon, carries potent symbolic meaning. A round pond represents harmony, the cycle of nature, the wholeness of heaven and earth. The ancients believed that if a round pond, symbolizing a kine, was placed in front of a home, it would attract wealth and retain it. Why? Because roundness means containment. Nothing leaks. The energy circulates gently and evenly. In Feng Shui, this is called gathering qi, the art of collecting life energy into a stable reservoir. Water, in traditional philosophy, represents wealth. The shape and flow of that water determines whether the wealth stays or flows away. That's why shape matters. A sharp-angled pond causes energy to scatter. A jagged or triangle-shaped water feature invites what's called qi, destructive or unstable energy. It's the spiritual equivalent of leaving your windows open in a storm. It invites chaos. But a round or crescent-shaped pond, it cradles energy. It encourages wealth to stay, not just financial but emotional, relational, spiritual richness. But there's more. A half-moon pond is not just visually elegant, it carries profound energetic significance. It symbolizes the principle of less is more. It's not full, not empty, always gently in flux. That balance brings a soft power to the home. It doesn't create envy. It doesn't provoke. It sustains quietly. The ancients understood this principle deeply. What we now call minimalism, they call to moderation. The half-moon pond teaches restraint. It teaches harmony. And that, they believed, was the real magnet for fortune. So what happens when people dig a pond without understanding these laws? When aesthetics override ancient wisdom, chaos, disturbance, sometimes even disaster. Let me share a story. A family living in a relatively peaceful rural neighborhood decided to build a sleek, modern pond in front of their house. The father, inspired by contemporary design, opted for a triangular glass-edged pool with no natural inflow or outflow. It was bold. It was Instagram-worthy. And within 3 years, everything changed. The once thriving business began to collapse. Their eldest child fell into depression. Family arguments became constant. Even their plants began to wither. Finally, desperate, they sought a consultation with a Feng Shui master. After walking around the property, he looked at the pond and shook his head. "This is a cutting blade. It splits the energy at your doorstep." He instructed them to fill it in. They did, replaced it with a soft-edged stone garden, and added a small circular fountain to the side, ensuring the water was circulating. and slowly, stability returned, not overnight, but gradually. Peace replaced tension, health improved, their business pivoted in a new, more ethical direction and grew. This isn't magic, it's energetic ecology. The same way we now know that urban design affects crime rates and green spaces reduce stress, ancient traditions knew that spatial design affects consciousness. The environment is not separate from you. It reflects your internal order or disorder. Another mistake people often make is placing ponds directly in front of their main door. This, in energy terms, is like putting a dam in front of a cave's mouth. Your house breathes through the front door, it's the entrance of Qi, the life force. If a body of water blocks this flow, it can suffocate the energy. That's why proper placement matters. A pond should invite, not obstruct. It should cradle, not clash. This is why Feng Shui is called the part of placement, not decoration placement, precision, purpose. Also, avoid dead water. Still, uncirculating ponds not only breed mosquitoes, they attract what energy healers call stagnant Qi. Think of it like psychic mold. You might not see it, but over time, it affects your mood, your clarity, your luck. Always choose living water, something that moves, even gently. A small pump, a trickle per fountain. Movement symbolizes life. Life attracts abundance. For those living in modern apartments, don't feel left out. You too can create energetic water harmony. A simple tabletop fountain, a fish tank with healthy movement. Even a small bowl of water with floating flowers can change the energy in your space. The key is cleanliness, movement, and intent. Set it near your entrance, not directly in front, but to the side, and watch how your space begins to feel more welcoming, more alive. Let's not forget the greatest water feature is not in your garden, it's in your mind. Your thoughts, your emotions. These are rivers, streams, they can nourish or destroy. A mind full of stagnant resentment and unchecked fear is no different from a dead pond, but a mind that circulates gratitude, forgiveness, humility, that mind becomes a lake of light, reflecting all that is good. The ancients understood this. That's why they always paired external practice with internal cultivation. You clear the space, but you also clear the heart. You dig the pond, but you also nourish the soul. So the next time you hear someone dismiss this wisdom as old wives' tales, remember much of what we call science today was once labeled superstition, and much of what we ignore today will one day be rediscovered as essential. The pond at your door is more than a design choice. It's a conversation with the unseen. A decision to honor flow, beauty, and balance. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've ever had experiences with changes in your home environment, good or bad, link it to design or placement. Share your story in the comments. Let's learn from each other. And if you found value in this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell icon. Your presence means everything to us. See you next time, and may your life always flow with clarity and peace.